great privilege. Carmen, don't cry in front of the kids because they'll think something's wrong. It's just such an honor for me to teach your children music. And beyond music, to teach worship and how we worship together. And not just how to worship, but how to be a worship leader. And so I'm just so honored to be able to stand here tonight with all of my kids in this room that are about to perform for you. Very special expression of worship. Where is Dylan Brissett? This guy is about to wow you and amaze you. And I'm going to ask that while Dylan is doing his talent, that nobody move while he's talking. He has memorized John chapter 18. And it's going to grip your heart. And you don't want to miss anything that this young man of God is about to pour out in this house right now. Would you welcome Dylan?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Today, I'll be sharing a story called In the Hands of Wicked Men. There's an angry mob coming. The quiet peace of the garden was rent with shouts and hoots of a rabble seeking Jesus. Priests and scribes mingle with criminals. Temple guards, armored swords and clubs, and lighting the night with flaming torches, led by Judas. One of the disciples. Jesus stepped forth before the disciples and said, "Who's it you're looking for?" They answered, "Jesus of Nazareth." Jesus said, "I am he." Jesus wanted them to let the disciples go. But Peter saw the danger and drew his sword and struck the nearest man, a servant of the high priest. He missed his head but cut off his ear. Jesus said, "Let me do this much." Then he touched the man's ear and made it whole. Judas would tell the priest he would show him the master by giving him a kiss on the forehead. Jesus said, "Judas, do you betray the Son of Man with a kiss?" They seized Jesus and led him to the city of Annas. The father-in-law of Caiaphas, the high priest, 2 disciples, John and Peter, followed at a distance. John was known by the high priest. They let him in. John brought in Peter. The maid at the door said to Peter, "You are one of his disciples too." Peter answered roughly, "No, I am not." Jesus' captors brought him before Annas. They asked him about his disciples and teachings. Jesus answered, "I have spoken openly. I have always taught in the synagogues and the temples. I have nothing secret." Peter stood by the fire. One of them said, You're sure a fall the Galilean because you talk like a Galilean." Peter said, "I do not even know this man." The relatives of the servant Peter had cut off ears said, "Didn't I see in the garden?" Again he swore, "I do not even know this man. I am not of all this man." Jesus then was led past Peter. He looked at Peter full of pity and love. Peter then remembered Jesus saying, "Before the cock crows twice, you'll deny me thrice, 3 times. Peter wept bitterly and hated himself for what he had done. Now he knew himself like Jesus, knew him, he longed to know if Jesus would forgive him. Judas saw that Jesus wouldn't deliver himself from his enemies, so he went out and hung himself. I hope you enjoyed this story. Again, my name is Dylan Brosette. Always keep God first. Good night.
Tonight, because one day the whole world is going to know who Dylan Brosette is.